Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Play Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, Part 4. As always, my name is eckohour, and I'll be your disembodied voice hosting this Let's Play.
Reports an impending pirate raid.
So, when we last left off, we had started, or pretty much wrapped up, I should say, crystallizing our borders. We're making some tentative plans for our early expeditions out against our enemies. Let's actually put some bounty. Luxian Resurgence got hit pretty hard last time, so we'll put our credits into the Prophets of Zay. So, as I mentioned, we kind of made our tentative plans for how we're going to expand out, in this system at least. We're going to try and target the Prophets of Zay once we build up a large enough military force to attack. We're going to try and form an alliance with the Luxian Resurgence. They're the rebel TEC in our system here. And eventually we're going to have to address the issue of the Rollus Sabare, the other Advent faction here in our system. Now, what I haven't talked about yet, and I'll take a little bit to mention it, typically on a map like this, there's going to be two colonized systems. Let's have a look at our diplomacy here. If the other system mirrors ours, we have 4 factions, including ourselves, in our system.
A new colony has
So, assuming that the other system mirrors ours, this is also going to have 4, which means that the central system is going to be a point of contention between these two stars. So, before we reach that new system, we're going to want to make sure that we present a united front. And if that means conquering all of this system and just doing it all of ourselves, or if that means allying with whomever we can and doing it from there. Are they ready? Yeah, it looks like they might be. Who are they targeting? No? This is a Prophets of Zay ship. Nope. Where are they going? They going up here, maybe? I don't know. So as I mentioned before, we were going to solidify our defenses here, and that's important. But there is a noticeable, from what I can tell, gap in our defense that will be a difficult, or something that we'll have to address, I should say, and that is the wormhole right here. We don't know where it leads yet. I'm going to assume it leads right here. So it might be an avenue for the Rollus Sabare to attack us. We can't build any defensive structures here in this wormhole other than a starbase. A starbase by itself is still a pretty large threat, but against a dedicated fleet, it's not going to be able to hold the line. It won't have the repair platforms that we would need to keep it alive. Speaking of starbases, let's send our constructors out. Go ahead and get those built. As I mentioned in the last episode, the constructors are a cruiser class ship, but they don't have any armaments to speak of. They are designed entirely to construct a starbase, which costs its own resources. If I hover over this button right here, you'll see I would deploy it just like I would any structure. It costs some credits, some metal, and some crystal. It's well worth the investment for only about what I think would cost about overall to build the constructor and the starbase. 3,000 credits, couple hundred iron, couple hundred crystal. You get a massive, nigh-on indestructible early on structure that can deal out lots of damage. Plus, they are upgradable. You can boost their armor. You can make them be able to have a trade route. So, for example, I could actually build a starbase here and upgrade it to be a trade system that could continue my trade routes along here, which I might do. Well, that's getting annoying, man. They're not coming at us, guys. They're moving on. They're moving on past us. Leave them alone. Don't worry so much about them. So I did take a tick in SIDAR, which is a research for the civilian tree. SIDAR and the more advanced enhanced SIDAR will give us kind of a forewarning of ships coming to us. The regular SIDAR only gives us 1 tick away. Enhanced gives us up to 2, I believe. But the annoying thing is, even if they're only coming to say hello, like these guys are, they're just jumping through. The sidearm can't differentiate between that. If it's a hostile and it's coming to one of your planets, it immediately assumes that they're coming for blood. The pirates here, however, because if we check our pirate tree here, we'll notice that the sword is right next to the prophets of Zay. The sword denotes who the pirates are attacking. So, I should really stop talking and actually focus on building some things and researching some things, huh? Alright, so let's go ahead and improve our crystal and metal research. We'll also boost our population on our ice planet. We should also make sure that this isn't bleeding us dry. So, each planet has a ability to be upgraded. It's going to be here under planet development. It's a way of kind of simulating the building of structures and general infrastructure on the planet itself. You can't actually zoom all the way down into the planet. All those decisions are made here from this menu. So you have a bunch of different options here. You have the civilian infrastructure, which primarily governs population and, by extension, will also govern the amount of taxes that you're making. It will also get rid of the underdevelopment rate, which I had mentioned before. That happens to recently colonized planets. They will actually cost you. They will cost you credits. We have the emergency facilities here, which makes the planet more resilient to bombardment and makes it last longer. We have the Explore Planet feature. This is kind of a later game, later development option. This doesn't really yield anything per se. This has a small chance of detecting on this planet some sort of buff or even powerful artifacts that give you the planet buff will simply buff this planet. It could yield anything from additional resources to a smaller worm or a smaller gravity well radius. The artifacts give your entire empire-wide bonuses. They're really nice to get, but they're very rare. You need, from my experience, you need some of the largest map types to be able to get all of the artifacts available. And there are some repeats that you could potentially have, which would be a waste. So just to, hopefully, we'll take 2 ticks in that, and the first tick in it explores at 50%, the second one explores at 100%, so you can only research it twice. The logistics capacity does about what you might expect. It grants you access to additional logistics slots on that planet, which in turn allows you to build more structures there. So, for example, let's go right here to the planet Kania. We have already built a trade port and a civic research station here. We've maxed out our logistics slots. Most asteroids can only upgrade it once. So we have room for, on this planet, if we look down the bottom right, we have 8 of the 12 being used. And all logistic buildings, except for the mining facilities, take up 4. So I think what we're going to take is a point in the broadcast center. We'll go ahead and build that here. And what that'll do is that'll start generating some culture for us. And that'll spread out slowly throughout our empire. We want to get some culture just to combat the eventual cultural war that the Advent are going to be engaging on us. Now, we are going to be attacking them directly with ships eventually, but we don't want to neglect our cultural strength. Culture also grants you some bonuses in your territory, as I mentioned before. It increases allegiance. Allegiance will govern tax rate and how much taxes you make on that planet, so it's good to keep allegiance high. Let's go ahead and start building a starbase so you guys can see this happen. So here we go. We have our constructor ship flying past our dwarf planet here.
Nothing of value has been
Dwarf
found.
planets did not exist in the original game. They're a relatively recent addition. Originally, they were just asteroids. Dwarf planets were kind of added as a
Structure complete.
tweak of the old asteroid system. There's a few differences. I believe dwarf planets actually have a larger population, so they are a little more advantageous to asteroids, but not by a huge margin. Not anything that would make them a significant strategic advantage over an asteroid. There we go. So, you see the silhouette here. It'll slowly start to fill in that silhouette. You can see it moving up down here. When it's done, it'll look like this. We'll start investing in some upgrades on it, and we can make it a literal fortress. Let's go ahead and build the starbase over here too. We can't build one of those. We'll take another point in the defense tree, build an extra repair platform. That heck with it, we'll build 4. We want to keep things alive, right? We'll do the same thing over here. You'll notice if I continue to keep doing this kind of stuff, you'll notice that I am kind of a sucker for symmetry. I do so at my own expense half the time. I like to make everything nice and pretty looking, and usually not very practical. Like you'll notice that I kind of have a nice little sea of platforms here. If I was smart, I would be pulling my platforms along the trade routes, because that is what pirates primarily target. And raiding ships will go after your trade vessels, which cost you money. And depending on their ships, for example, like the pirates will actually give them money. This, I usually gear it towards protecting the planet. I'll try and put the buildings close by, but if they were to fly all the way around and start attacking from this direction, I obviously have no defensive coverage here. So, what I want to do now that I've started to build both of my star bases and taken away the supply that was necessary to have those Rolos constructors, we're going to build several Neruda Envoy cruisers. Now, they only take up 4 supply, so we can afford to buy a bunch of them.
Complete.
We will also go ahead and build one of these and a bunch of those guys.
Required.
And a scout too, why the heck not? These are called corvettes. Now, they're housed in the frigate section. They're considered a step down from frigates. They're considered a corvette. They are added in the Rebellion add-on. They're a new ship type that I didn't really talk about that much. They're not... they have a role to play, but it's not a huge role. They're primarily a harass. Their strength is in their speed, which means they can outrun most of the larger ships' weapons. Move around, keep those larger ships from targeting them from their speed. The larger ships have a slow turn rate, so it'll be hard for them to bring their main guns to bear. Now, that's really advantageous if you like to micro. If you're the kind of player that just likes to build up a fleet, send it at the other team's planet, and then move on and not micro that much, the corvettes really aren't going to be doing much for you. They're very easy to kill. You can, if you were smart, for example, if you're trying to counter a bunch of corvettes, minefields are amazing against them. Mines will wipe out. I actually did a playthrough once where I had built nothing but just a huge swarm of corvettes. Very strong, actually. They were able to take out a starbase really fast. But I also used them to attack a pirate base later on. The pirate base is one of the few that actually has, one of the few that the AI actually builds mines on. And those mines wiped out my fleet. Now I was still able to win, just through sheer strength of numbers, and I also had sent in my Titan and some other fleets as well. But almost all my corvettes were annihilated, so you gotta be careful. You have to be careful with the corvettes. Let's see. We should probably invest a bit in our military. We've been neglecting our military here. We'll take a tick in our carriers. We'll also boost our repair abilities. Take a point in a missile cruiser. We're doing good. We have a lot of resources.
Reporting for duty.
So let's add up a bunch. Boost our shield strength, shield recharge,
All
hull.
hands, prepare for
We'll
phase
take all
jump.
that stuff. We'll take the next tick in our
Intel reports
our
an
Titan.
impending pirate raid.
And we will... Uh-oh. Pirates are invading. This happens very frequently, so you've got to keep up on it.
Has become more
Unless you're at a point in time where you really don't mind too much whether or not these guys are coming to attack you. If they decide we're going to sit this one out, if we get bet on, we'll try and negate that. But actually, let's send them at the Rolos. We've kind of been neglecting stymieing them there. They haven't really had much in the way of people taking them out. So we have all of our envoy cruisers here.
Are on the loose.
We'll start to send those at our fellow. As a matter of fact, let's just do that now.
Speak on your behalf.
We'll send that to our allies here. We'll group them up here.
This is the way forward.
We'll send them around this way. We don't want to send them through the pirate base. They'll get eaten alive. We'll wait for our scout to show up. There
What do
he
you need to
is.
know?
I need some excitement.
I don't want him. Where did I send my fleet? There's the colony frigate. There we are. There's the
How
fleet.
about some attack orders?
So, we got both the crystal generators here. We will
There is
build
no
one
further
of
profit in
these,
attacking
one
an
of
empire.
these. Take a logistics and build a trade. We got one trade. Trade on every single one of our planets. Let's see where our trade thing goes to. Now, I'm sending envoys to them.
Destination.
That should start to give us points towards the Aluxian Resurgence. The unfortunate thing is, they will, because we're still considered hostile, if they have ships there, if they have defenses there, these envoys will be fired upon. Now, the envoys do have an ability that grants them a temporary
Shall I
immunity.
speak on your
As
behalf?
you see right here, diplomatic immunity gives them a temporary invulnerability to attack. So they'll stay alive a little longer than a typical ship.
Commencing phase jump.
The way diplomacy goes is, if you look over there on the side,
Planet development
we have
finished.
points for how they feel about us, and they have points for how we feel about them, and we can't change how we feel about them. So, as they start to attack our envoys, how we feel about them will actually go down. There's nothing we can do about that. So while they're getting the bonus from us, while they're getting points from us, enjoying the fact that we've sent our envoys to them, we're trying to develop peace for them, they're actually going to be hurting our relationship, or their relationship with us. Which, if it gets low enough, we won't be able to extend a ceasefire to them. They're going to have to start making a conscious effort to actually build up diplomacy with us. That can happen. If they decide, hey, these guys are strong enough, these guys are, kind of the guys that we want to start being
Structure
friends with,
complete.
they will start making steps to smooth relations over with us. As a matter of fact, let's see, we can take point in bounty
Research
hunting.
complete.
That now allows us to offer missions to opposing factions. So, a way we'll be able to tell is once that's done researching, we can offer them, say, hey guys, give us 200 crystal. If they agree, that means they're going to try and build diplomacy with us. If not, or that they want to, if not, then either their economy isn't doing that great, or they just aren't interested in pursuing the diplomatic option with us. It's all kind of unspoken things that are going on. You won't really hear much from them other than a yes or a no, depending on whether or not you offer that to them, but that's what the AI is thinking. That's what all is going on. So, let's go ahead and zoom out here. We'll just hover our mouse over the star. Brings up a silhouette of each of the different planets. As far as we know, we are in the strongest position. We have probably the majority of the planets here. Now, there are a few
Structure
planets
complete.
that we've detected that we haven't visited in a while.
Fail us in this task.
Oh, there we go. That is our first diplomatic mission. Ironically, coming from someone we haven't encountered yet. Now, they might have sent a scout through and detected us. I do believe the Visari do get a early ability to jump between stars. But they've given us a mission. What they want us to do is they want us to destroy ships belonging to the Aluxian Resurgence. If we agree to do that, we will get an additional 0.25 points with them. We will also get 750 credits, 150
Fail
metal,
us in this task.
and 100 crystal. But the target is the Aluxian Resurgence, the guys we're trying to build friendship with, and these are the guys from the other system. So they're kind of seeking to divide us here. This is something I'm more interested in taking. Here we go. Similar situation, just like these guys. They want us to attack another civilization, but it's the Rolla Silbare this time, someone we're actually planning on attacking. Same thing, they want us to attack 5 ships. If we destroy 5 ships, we'll get a boost with them in diplomacy, 750 credits, 150 metal, and 100 crystal. So what we're going to do is we're going to reject this. We're not going to take a huge hit for doing it. Only 10. If we allowed it to go all the way through, the effect that we would take, the hit that we would take on our diplomacy would have been a little bit bigger. So we're just going to reject that now. We're still in the black with them. We're not in the negative, so that's okay. These guys, however, we will accept. So let's go find our fleet. Here we go.
Squad leader here.
We'll assign them to group 1. We'll actually make these guys a fleet this time.
We're
Create
underway.
a fleet. This means that they will all kind of try and stick together. We'll also right-click here. This one arrow indicates that each of the ships will jump of their own accord. They'll all jump whenever they reach the edge of the zone. This is useful. This is, they move as a group. So, relatively speaking, as the entire fleet reaches the edge of the system, they will all jump together. It's a way of kind of keeping the enemy from killing each of your ships as they trickle in. They'll all jump in as one big blob, which is useful for us. What we'll also do is send out our envoys to the Alexian Resurgence.
Research complete.
We want to make sure we start building that up. So our main fleet here will try and kind of pave the way. Now, since we're kind of weak on the military side, we actually have according to the bottom right, we have the 5th largest military fleet in the game, which out of 8, that's a poor ranking. Now we're doing great in, actually we're doing the best in empire ranking, so we have the most planets, we've researched the most, and we have the best culture. According to economy, we have the most credits, the most metal, and the most crystal, so we're doing great in these 2 sectors. As far as the military ranking goes, we have the second most capital ships. We likely share that ranking with a majority of the other races. There's probably only 1 or 2 other races that have built more than one. And the 5th largest fleet, that's not good. But we are the best in defenses, and that's because of how many defenses we put over here. So let's take our first tick in this, and that. Start getting some trade to our star bases here. And we'll start finishing on our buildings while, actually no, let's zoom in over here on our fleet that's moving. So here they are, they're jumping into the system. We're going to try and send them around the pirate base.
ComSat has detected
While we're here, we'll actually get to see, they still haven't taken this planet. They're here fighting for it. Now if we were really aggressive, we could snipe that from them while they're fighting for this thing. We have a larger fleet here. They've only got 1 capital ship and 1 frigate here fighting against these things. Now they'd be able to win just because they have a pirate, or just because they have a capital ship. But we would be able to just go ahead and snipe this. We have a colonization vessel here, and they don't.
Where do you need me?
I don't want to be that aggressive just yet. So. So we're gonna jump on past them. We'll let them get this. We're not in desperate need of crystal. I'd rather focus up on building these guys now. So while they're going in to jump, we'll max out our logistics here. We'll put a point into culture, take an extra trade, and that's all we can build here. Let's go to our civilian thing. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a point in orbital refinement. This will give us the ability to build refineries, which will boost our production of metal and crystal. Now, our metal we're producing a lot of metal. But I think it looks like everybody is, because metal is a pretty hotly sold item right now. But we'll take a lot of those credits. Let's go ahead and take a couple points into addictive consumerism. That'll boost our culture spread rate. We'll also take some points in these low-tier research abilities, just to finish all that out. We'll take that boost to our diplomacy. Let's build some crystal. Defense.
Finished.
Let's take all this stuff. This is all good. We'll just
All hands,
research all the
phase jump.
things. And you know what? What the heck? Let's take a point in basic provisioning. Give us a little bit more ships to build. So, it looks like our Alexian Resurgence brethren have been expanding.
Shall I speak on your behalf? Envoy
That's
at
good.
your service.
So we're pushing the borders of our Prophets of Zay enemy there.
Very well.
We'll see if in fact they are expanding down here. That was actually, now that I realize it, that was the Alexian Resurgence attacking here, which would have been even greater for us. We're probably going to take most of these planets. Where's our fleet at? Right here. No one's taken it yet. We could snipe that one too if we were really daring. But we're not. We're cowardly guys. We like to hide behind our fortresses.
Peace is the way forward.
Here goes our envoys. goes our...
What's
Well,
our
see, here's
destination?
what I mean. They're attacking it. Already lost almost all of its shield.
Raiding one of our planets.
Hopefully they'll jump away. They'll go somewhere else, somewhere more important. That's okay. We've got a few more.
Our planet is under siege.
These guys are dedicated to diplomacy, man. They are willing to risk life and limb in the name
Shall
of
I
peace.
speak on your behalf?
I can respect that. We want to keep this
Research
guy out of the
complete.
range of the barrier.
Research complete.
So, if we take a look, we should already be... Nope, not yet. We do
Research
have
complete.
0.50 due to envoy actions, but we've taken a hit due to fleet
Research
strength.
complete.
The other nice thing about cultural outreach is if our culture has spread to their empire, which we haven't spread very far at all, but if it did, that would actually boost our diplomatic relations with them a bit.
All hands, prepare
So,
for phase
you know
jump.
what, if nobody else is going to take points in diplomacy, we should probably be doing that ourselves. Let's make sure we've built up all of our resource nodes.
Research complete.
Here, here, and here. Alright. Here goes our light attack fleet. We're going to try and attack a couple ships.
Shall I speak on your behalf?
Here's our
An ambassador's work is never
ambassador missions. Send this
done.
guy
Peace is the
here.
way forward.
So we have this guy over here. He seems to be
Planet
getting left alone now,
development finished.
thankfully. He flew to the other side of the planet and they got uninterested, flew away.
Fail us in this task.
Got another quest, man. People are throwing quests at us like it's going out of style. There we go, that's good. Now both the Slave Car Magistra and the Adjunct Imperials, denizens of the other system, have given us missions to kill 5 ships here. So we can kill 2 birds with one stone. If
Where do you need me?
we catch these guys napping.
A sound
So
plan.
let's send them right here.
Research complete.
Everything is transpiring as I have foreseen. Everything's going well for us right now. Almost too well. I'm a
The
little
new
worried.
colony has been
Kinda.
founded.
Oh no.
Structure complete.
Where do you need me?
So what just happened is our colonization ability is automated here. I can't believe that happened. Our colonization ability is automated here. That's what that little swirly thing is. If you right click it, it unautomates it. If you right click it, it automates it. So what we had happen was my ship flew close enough to this planet that it was able to just send down a colony crew and take it. So now we have a really overextended on an island planet. We don't want to build any trade here because they'll be flying right through the pirate base. So let's just focus on keeping this planet alive. I don't want to lose it now that I have it. You know, it's here now, so might as well just keep it.
All hands, prepare for phase
Instead,
jump.
we'll just focus on keeping this guy alive as long as we can. May even be a staging area for our eventual invasion of the Roll of Solbare later on.
Planet development finished.
We might even pull our fleet back here for repairs once
Pirate
that's all
raiders are on
done.
the loose.
So they're after the Alexian Resurgence this time around. That's
Structure
okay.
complete.
The ship is untainted by the attacks of the enemies. That one's 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Phase
Great.
jump complete.
So let's check our diplomacy now with the
Structure complete.
Alexian Resurgence. Improving. Almost improved an one whole entire
Structure
point. And
complete.
that's because our envoy actions have been doing what we've
Comsat
been
has
hoping they'd be
detected
doing.
inbound hostiles.
On top of things, since we have an abundance of iron, or metal I should say, let's just give them as much metal as will actually start giving us
Planet development
boosts.
finished.
So there we go. We gave them a whole bunch of metal, and in return, we've gotten almost
Pirates
4
are
whole
raiding
points
one of our planets.
to diplomacy with them.
Research complete.
So here we go.
Another structure is in the way.
We've discovered the Roll of Solbare, duking it out with the Alexian Resurgence. Alexian Resurgence seems to be making a lot of moves against the other factions here in the system. But they're going to have to pull back. It seems like
Research
our
complete.
early pirate harass has been more effective than
Structure
I might have
complete.
expected. It looks like everybody's kind of in a dismally weak
Reporting
position.
in.
Planet development
So let's
finished.
jump right here. We're going to keep pursuing our attack options here. But I think that's going to have to wait for the next episode. Yeah, we're coming up to a close here. So I get this is kind of a boring episode. There's a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of planning, not much action. Just a lot of flying around. Hopefully the next episode we can get a couple skirmishes going. Anyway, I want to thank you all guys for watching. Stay tuned for part 5.